All right, all right, all right. Padded Room Radio is on the air, you beaches. My name is Darian. I'm back for another week of horror bullshit coming right to your face holes. It's another solo show extravaganza. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It's just me again, because apparently I have alienated all of my friends. So I think this is what I'm doing from now on. That's fine. I don't care. I don't even care anymore. You guys are still listening, so apparently I haven't pissed you off yet. At least that I know of. Yeah, it's just me, inmates. What's going on, guys? What's up with you? Had a pretty boring week. I'm very tired tonight, I'll be honest with you. I ran 4 miles. The weather here in northern Nevada is unseasonably hot. It's like got into the mid-60s today. So I thought I better get myself out there and click some miles. I got about 4 miles in, and now really I just want to go back to bed at this point. But I'm going to power through, and I'm going to get you a horror show. I'm talking about Blood Spattered Bride here, people. Okay? Yeah, that Blood Spattered Bride. Has anybody else seen this movie except for me? No, just me. That's what I thought. Well, I'm going to give you the full treatment here in a few minutes. Also got listener mail and all the usual horror shit to get into. How about we start things off with some horror news, you maniacs?
Horror news.
Yes, sir. We got some things on the grill here. The grill on the burners. Let's see what we got here. It looks like Diablo Cody is shopping a Jennifer's Body sequel around. I like Jennifer's Body. I guess if there had to be a Jennifer's Body sequel, you would have to go back to Diablo Cody, right? I mean, she did the original. It was very meta. It was very hip. What are we talking? 2009-ish, I think, if I'm not mistaken, maybe earlier. Things have changed a lot since then. So I don't know if I want her brand of horror meta commentary creeping up on me. She just made a werewolf movie, didn't she? I think it just came out this year. Maybe I'll check that out before I cast judgment on this Jennifer. And then what are you going to do? You're going to bring Megan Fox back? She's like 50 now. I'm not saying she doesn't look good, but she's clearly not as hot as she was 15 years ago. So there's that. And she's married to Machine Gun Kelly, which I know a lot of people don't like, myself included. So that's going to affect your sales. I don't know, man. I feel like I'm talking myself out of the Jennifer's Body sequel. But we'll check it. We'll check it out when it comes out. And it couldn't be that bad, right? Looks like trailers are up for the old ones. I watched the trailers. They look pretty good. It's a H.P. Lovecraft story. It looked like a limited budget from what I saw from the trailers, and a lot of practical effects. Now, if we're talking H.P. Lovecraft, which we obviously are, you you kind of have to have the special effects budget. So, I mean, if you're just going to do a bunch of foam tentacles and flopping around and shit, I mean, it could be worse. It could be all CGI, like Dagon. Remember that? That was crap. I mean, it wasn't that bad, but that was like cutting-edge CGI from 2003. And watching it now, you got to admit, it looks like crap. I don't know, man. The deep ones wasn't bad. I don't think they have anything to do with each other. That one was sparing. But now that I bring up the deep ones, I remember that piece of shit Cthulhu thing they threw at us at the very end. That was stupid. That looked like an NCAA mascot. I'll probably check it out. I'm a Lovecraft guy, so we'll see how this looks. Speaking of terrors at sea, Last Voyage of the Demeter is going to hit streaming next month. So you probably find it on at least Amazon Prime, maybe pop up on a fucking Tubi or something. Who knows? It'll be out there. I'm excited. I still have not seen that. I've heard good things, though. So I'm excited for that one. What else we got here? Carl Urban has confirmed that Mortal Kombat 2 has wrapped production. I had to sneeze there. Okay. So we got Carl Urban playing Johnny Cage in Mortal Kombat 2. I don't know about that shit, man. Unless we're going to pick up with like a 45-year-old Johnny Cage and go with that. I mean, the Mortal Kombat, the new movie, is like not really following the video game storyline that closely. You know, it's like nodding to it periodically, but that's about it. You're basically looking at name recognition. I like the first one, the one that came out in 2020. I thought that was pretty good. I'm excited to see where they go from here. There was some problems, though, like Jax with his little tiny arms, his little pterodactyl robot arms that he had for a second. That was kind of dumb, right? A lot of people said that Kano pretty much carried the whole movie. I'm not disagreeing with that. It's a very real possibility. All in all, though, I didn't think it was a bad show, and I'm enough of a Mortal Kombat geek that I can, forgive the creative liberties. So I'll check it out. I'm into it. I'm gonna see it. Lastly, it looks like Joe Lynch's Suitable Flesh is getting a VHS release. Pre-order it at witterentertainment.com. Now, I'm going to get into Suitable Flesh. That's going to come up in the What Are You Looking At department. But I don't know what VHS tapes are going for these days. But I don't know, man. Like my man Jason Harrell, he's very much into retro media. Not sure why, but it's his jam. And I love him for it. Not my gig. I want to see the clarity. I want to see all of Linnea Quigley's pockmarks. Make it so I can't beat off to her anymore. I don't know, man. But I don't know why we would want. It's a very early '90s style movie. I'll give you that much. And if you're a VHS collector, there you go. It's Suitable Flesh. So there you have it. witterentertainment.com is where you find that. All right, that's all I got on the horror news. I think it's time for some listener mail then.
Listener mail.
Yeah, buddy. What do we got here? Let's start things off with an email. All the way from Sydney, Australia, here comes Tim. Hello, Tim. Subject line, let's go Rawhead. What's up, Darian? Hope you're well this week, and if anyone else shows up, I hope they are well as well. I'm fine, Tim. I'm just tired, and I know that I sound tired. I am going to limp my way through this show, and I will get you your motherfucking podcast, whether you want it or not, son of a bitch. Terradome, dude, it's Rawhead. Rex, and what? Dude, it's Rawhead. Rex has this in the bag. I'm with you. Also, D, are you arachnophobia? Gotcha. I cannot think of any drug horror films, so no meat hook for me. Sorry. Much love to you all. Tim, Right on, Tim. You got me. I was arachnophobia. Well done there. And I'm going to put you down for 2 votes for Rawhead Rex. Yeah, buddy. Right on, Tim. Thanks for writing in, dude. Let's get over to the voicemail line. Here comes our main man in Alabama. Alan is in the house.
Adam, what's up?
What's up,
Hope
Alan?
everybody's doing good.
I'm just tired. I'll be
enjoyed
fine.
the solo show.
Yep.
Terror Dome, give me Sammy Kerr.
Alrighty.
Meat Hook. I really think about like drug horror movies. I guess I go Bliss.
Yeah.
Requiem for a Dream.
Yeah, I would call that a horror movie.
Honestly, I really haven't seen a lot.
You probably have. You probably just didn't think of it
anyway,
as drug horror.
Mr. Darian, are you arachnophobia?
You got me.
Let's see, this week I got a week straw screen box again because I wanted to watch this movie called Project Wolf Hunting.
Yeah, what do you think?
That is badass.
Okay.
I watched that. I watched The Barn 2. Actually enjoyed it.
I like The Barn 2
and
better than The
watched
Barn 1.
Trick or Treat because that is on screen box right now. That movie's so good. Anyway, that's all I got. Hope everybody's doing good. Talk to y'all later. Bye.
Right on. Thanks for calling in, Alan. I'm going to put you down for Sammy. You probably have seen some drug horror movies. You just didn't think of them as horror movies with drugs in them. Requiem for a Dream, though, dude. Anybody who says that's not a horror movie is smoking crack. No pun intended. Some of the fucking shit that goes down in that movie. Was that your arm? That was your arm. Oh, don't do that. Is that a double-sided dildo? No, it's nasty. Right on, Alan. Thanks for calling in. I keep flirting with the fucking Scream box. I don't know, dude. You know what pisses me off about Screambox, and this has really nothing to do with Screambox actually, but Bloody Disgusting became part owners of Screambox. So anything that's on Screambox is going to get a glowing review from Bloody Disgusting. Shocking, I know. And when you go to Bloody Disgusting, you have to swim through a sea of Screambox pop-ups before you can actually look at any news or anything. So I'm almost not subscribing or even doing the trial offer just out of spite, motherfuckers. How about that? Fuck you guys. I don't know why I'm so bitter about that. Right on, Alan. Thanks for calling in. Let's get down to Southern California. Here comes Mr. Tom Hardy. Hey-yo!
Hey-yo! Padded room. How's my favorite degenerates this week?
It's just me.
We hope everyone is doing well.
I'm all right.
I wanted to get in real quick there on the terror.
Yeah, what do you think?
We have Rawhead Rex and Sammy Kerr. And you know what? I'm going to put this one to old boy Rawhead. I think,
right.
I think he's actually going to go on to be the champion of this
Let's
one.
do
here.
it.
I think he's going to snatch that mullet and that bedazzled tassel-wearing
that
jacket
ragged
of Skippy and
shirt.
take this one all the way.
All righty.
So put me down for Rawhead.
You got it, buddy.
On the educating department, I believe you're arachnophobia.
You got it.
That's right. Keep them basic. Keep them easy. I like that.
Just for you. That's how I'm going to roll.
Oh, speaking of last week, though, you were defending Rob Zombie.
Okay, yeah.
And I was totally in agreement with you, man.
Oh, cool.
You like Rob Zombie. You like White Zombie.
Sure.
So you want to like his flicks. And I'm in complete agreement with you. I feel that way, and I feel kind of like you had mentioned, like a Rob Zombie apologist.
Sure.
But I do think you stepped over the line trying to defend Halloween 2. That was just a fucking piece of shit. You gotta accept it and move on.
Okay.
I can't think of a single fucking redeeming quality on that one.
The
one thing that would have been decent for them to have done is to at least fucking make it a short flick. If it's going to be that shitty,
like 2 hours.
Fucking make it I don't know. That one just, I don't think there's no defending that one. Anyway, what else? Yeah. Oh, yeah. So on the What Are You Looking At department, I got to catch this flick called In Its Wake.
Okay.
It's low budget as hell.
Okay.
It's not that great.
In Its Wake.
I hate saying bad things about like obvious low budget flick. It's like, hey, what the fuck you expect? You know, we didn't have no money.
Right.
Very evident there's no money. You don't get to see, you know, the quote unquote monster till the very end of the flick, and then when you do, you realize that you probably shouldn't have seen it the whole fucking time.
Oh man.
I don't know. It's a shorter flick. I said, fuck it, let's give it a chance. The
Okay.
little thumbnail looks badass, but
Okay.
I think that's as good as it gets. I also got to catch the Meg 2.
Yeah.
Man, I didn't think the first one was that great, but this one was fucking bad.
That bad, huh?
How come they're not, like, just focusing on the fucking shark? How come we always got to have, like, a side villain running around?
Well, yeah.
To fucking know the humans will fight the humans now. Let's just fucking focus on the shark, man. What the fuck?
That's
something else that came up, and I'd like to get your thoughts on this one here.
Oh, he got GP'd. He got GP'd, as he is wont to do. So, a couple of things there, Mr. Hardy. I get it. You know, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, universally maligned. And with good reason, I fully admit that. Now, what I will say is much like the the 2010 Nightmare on Elm Street remake, is that I didn't think it was that bad. It's bad, sure. There are many bad horror movies that I absolutely adore. In fact, one of my favorites of all time, Sorority Babes and the Slimeball Bolorama. Don't know why I love it, but I do. Can't, other than, you know, lots of boobs and Hal Halvorson. I can't give you a redeeming quality about it other than the fact that I like it, and I can't tell you why. Everybody will shit all over it all day, and I'll still be like, it's one of my favorites. Same thing with Halloween 2, man. Is it bad? Yes, of course. Is it that bad? Is it offensively bad? I don't think so. I think Rob Zombie just wanted to go, well, first off, I think they were just firing fucking $100 bills at him out of one of those T-shirt cannons that you see at the Lakers game. Secondly, I don't think he really wanted to do a sequel to his Halloween, but he couldn't turn down that much money. So he did it, and he thought he would try to go a different direction, and it didn't go the way we as horror fans wanted it to go. It went in a very strange, bearded Michael Myers eating out of garbage cans route, and that's just that. I can't really defend that part of it, but I didn't think it was that bad. I'll just leave it at that. What else are you talking about? Low budget horror and the shitty special effects. I've always been a big fan of the less is more approach. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to show me every tentacle and every suction cup on the fucking thing. And this is kind of like the downfall of just about every single werewolf movie ever. You know, it way too ambitious with the special effects, ends up looking like shit. No matter how good the movie was up to that transformation or up to the point where you actually see the werewolf, once you see it, you're like, look at this fucking thing. It looks like a fucking Saint Bernard or something, you know? And then from there on, you're like, fuck this. No, I'm checked out. So why even show the werewolf or the tentacled thing or whatever it was, you know? Just keep it, you know, keep what looks good. And if you can't show what you want to show the way you want to show it, then don't show anything, man. Less is more. That's my approach. All right. He called back. He got GP'd. You know he did.
G motherfucking P.
Oh, hell yeah.
Anyway, I was saying about the Meg 2. You know, like when you're watching, like, you hear about a movie, like, and they say, oh, you know, they had to change this for China.
Yeah.
Or they put this bit in there because they wanted the movie to do well in China or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck, has there ever been a movie where you haven't heard that, but you thought to yourself, oh yeah, this one here, they're totally trying to appeal to to the Chinese market because of this. I don't know if this makes me sound like a fucking asshole or whatever.
No.
But when I was watching Meg 2, I was like, I think this is fucking kind of, they're trying to appeal to that market there. I don't know. I don't know anything about it, but it sure gave me that fucking feeling.
I get you.
Anyway, on to the fucking meat hooks there. Drug flicks. I'll try and go fast here. I know I'm fucking droning on.
No, you're fine.
I don't know exactly what the fuck you're talking about,
okay,
Darian. So why don't we go with fucking Nightmare on Elm Street 3? You know, they had Rohypnol, Seroquel, whatever the fuck it was, you know.
Hypnosil,
dream,
I think.
Supposed to make them not fucking dream.
Yeah, buddy.
So that was a plot point from there.
Sure.
And I don't know, fucking... What about Cabin in the Woods, when they explain how they manipulate the drug to fucking make them more horny so they fuck more or whatever?
I forgot
and then
about
let me just throw in Club Dread.
Club Dread,
Broken
sure.
Lizard flick. If you haven't seen it, man, this is a totally underrated, great fucking flick.
Horror comedy.
I don't want to say what the drug part is because it kind of
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Flick, but anybody who hasn't seen it, man, give that movie a shot, especially if you like Broken Lizard stuff. I mean, you already like horror movies. It's a Broken Lizard horror flick. It's a Broken Lizard slasher,
I would say, yeah.
But I don't know. I love that flick. Anyway, I've been droning on long enough. Hope all is well. Love you like family. Bye now.
Love you too, Tom Hardy. Thanks for calling in, my man. Yeah, it's dumb. It's stupid as hell. It's hilarious though if you haven't seen it. It's got Bill Paxton in it, so Jason probably would not watch it ever. But it's not bad. You got that adolescent humor that somehow always hits home runs, and then you got dead bodies appearing all over the island. It's great. That's it on the listener mail, my friends. Thank you very much, Tom Hardy, Tim, and Alan. You guys are gentlemen and scholars. And you're very attractive. Did I tell you that? It's a compliment. I guess it's time to get into a movie, shall we? Yes, we shall.
¿Es la misma mujer del retrato? ¿Cómo murió?
No murió. La encontraron cubierta de sangre, vestida de novia, junto al cadáver de su marido. Lo mató la misma noche de bodas.
¿Por qué?
Porque trató de imponerle prácticas insoportables. Fíjate, solo la fecha de nacimiento. Esperaron 2 años antes de darle sepultura, pero jamás consiguieron hacerle soltar el puñal.
De la cama. No era un sueño.
¿Qué era entonces?
Una mujer entró en la habitación. La vi. Me habló. Y dijo esto.
Las pesadillas angustiosas son siempre la expresión de un poderoso deseo. ¿Pusiste el puñal en la cama?
No, está mintiendo.
Existe en la hembra humana una innegable tendencia agresiva contra el hombre que ha causado la pérdida de su virginidad.
Ay. Quieta. Yo no te odio. Yo te quiero. ¿A ti te gusta que te hagan daño? Yo no te amo. Yo te odio.
El odio y los deseos de venganza y muerte contra aquellas personas a las que mayor afecto tenemos en nuestra vida son manifestaciones frecuentes en los sueños.
¡Mátalo ahora! ¡Rasga su corazón! ¡Mátalo! ¡Mátalo! ¡Aniquila su maldita potencia!
El enfrentamiento con la primera experiencia carnal es para ella un acontecimiento de suprema importancia, a la vez deseable y aborrecible. El fondo de agresividad excitado por esta contradicción se llama complejo de Judith.
That's right, it's Blood Spattered Bride from 1972, you motherfuckers. This one got 6.2 stars on IMDb. It stars Simon Andrew, Maribel Martin, and Alexandra Bastedo. It's got a hard R rating. It's written and directed by Vicente Aranda. As you may have guessed, it is a Spanish film, although you can watch it currently streaming on Tubi with an English dubbing. It's a bad English dubbing, inmates. Don't get your hopes up. It's pretty rancid. But this is a loose retelling of the Carmilla Karnstein saga. I don't know if you guys are familiar at all with that. Carmilla was written, I want to say, late 1800s. I've read the book. It's basically details a French aristocratic family on their way back from somewhere. They find this little girl on the side of the road, and she's very sickly, so they take her in, and the little girl befriends their daughter, and then they kind of grow up together. But they kind of leapfrog each other. Like, the little girl is very sickly when they pick her up. Then the daughter gets very sick, and the little girl gets better. And then Carmilla's the little girl. And make a long story short, Carmilla's a vampire, and that's that. And then she basically infects the whole Karnstein family, and now you have Carmilla Karnstein. That you'll hear that name pop up a lot in different vampire movies. There's a lot of Karnstein movies and Carmilla movies and shit like that. This one is a erotic version of that, and it is very 1970s erotic. By that I mean there's a lot of fucking pubic hair in this movie, dudes. It's not to say it's a bad thing. I'm just telling you up front, there is some jungle warfare, if you understand what I'm saying. It's a little thick around about the crotch area. Anyway, we start off with a newlywed couple, and they are on their way to they literally just got married. They're on their way to the honeymoon. They go to, I presume we're in Spain or somewhere we're in Europe somewhere, and they get to a very exciting resort with it's huge, and I assume it's got like a beachfront thing or something going on. They pull up to the valet, and the husband gets out, and he's like, hey, you go on inside. I'm going to park the car. He's already got the room all booked, and the concierge comes down and helps the bride with her bag. We're going to meet the bride. Her name is Susan. She is played by Maribel Martin. She's circa 1972, is very attractive. To be honest with you, though, I don't know if she was legal age to be appearing nude in movies of this nature, especially given the subject matter. I don't know. But she's like, yeah, okay, great. So they go in, they get checked in. The husband is still parking the car, and basically, okay, so things get a little weird right off the get-go. And I don't know if there's... if she's crazy or if she's having visions or what, but they get up to the hotel room, and she's up there by herself. She gets let in. She goes in. She starts unpacking. She opens the closet, and out pops a guy with a stocking on his head, and she screams, but then he just kind of kicks her over onto the bed, and then she kind of goes paralyzed. So he rips her wedding dress open, like from the neck all the way down to the feet, and like expose. And I'm assuming we're looking at a raping, is what we're getting here, because and like you get to see her in her total nakedness, and she screams and freaks out, and you're like, oh shit, there was a pervert hiding in her closet, so that's very scary. But then the husband comes up. And then when he comes into the room, she's just sitting on the edge of the bed perfectly fine, and her wedding dress is still intact. So I have to believe, I assume that was like, it very well might have been a rape fantasy of hers, except that when the husband comes in, she's like, I don't want to stay here. And he's like, shit. There goes our fucking honeymoon. We almost made it to the house. We almost got completely checked in, and she's already ruined it. So I have to assume at this point that the rape did not, in fact, happen because her dress was still intact. And in the initial attack, the dress got ripped all the way down. So her clothes were intact. Her hair wasn't messed up or anything. So was it a fantasy? Was it some kind of a vision? I don't know. But the husband is like, fuck. So instead, they check out of the hotel, the resort, and they load back up into his little Mazda Miata, or whatever that little tiny-ass car is, and they go driving back to his house. Now, this is a weird thing that they used to do in the 70s, where we would pick up at the honeymoon, and the bride and groom would act like they had never met or been even introduced before. We get some of that here. So he takes her back to his house, which is this huge palatial, like, estate castle kind of a situation. And they roll up, and she's like, oh my God, your house is so big. Oh, look at you've got servants. Okay, this never came up before the wedding, that he was loaded? You would think that you would have checked out his house before you married him. I don't know. Maybe there was some kind of a mail order bride, or one of those fixed marriage things where her fucking dad sent her away. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm asking too many questions. Anyway, they get there. It's kind of a like very old, like ivy growing up the walls. It's a castle, man. They go inside. It's huge. It's there's a gardener that lives there, and then his 14-year-old daughter, Carol, who kind of hangs around. And then we also have like a maid, or she acts more like a headmistress type of a lady. She's like bossing people around. So that's who's there. They get inside, they go up to the master bedroom, and then they have sex. And they act like neither one of them has ever had sex before. They definitely haven't had sex with each other. They established that. She's like, oh, I should have let you touch me earlier. And he's like, no, you should have saved yourself for marriage. And she's like, but I've been with other men. And he's like, you should have saved yourself from me for marriage, or something like that. The English dubbing in this is ridiculous. And to be honest, I kind of hope that there is something that got missed, because a lot of this dialogue doesn't make a lot of sense, so we'll just have to go with it. They have sex. It's great. You get to see her muff again, and she's got some nice boobs. It's that early 1970s style sex scene where he lays down on top of her, and then there's just a lot of smiling and moaning. some jazz flute coming in. Little smooth jazz flute coming in. It's stupid. Why? What? At what point did we in human history did we find the jazz flute to be erotic in any way? If anybody comes at me, if I even hear a jazz flute, like while I'm on hold or in a waiting room, it annoys the piss out of me. Am I the only one that gets that vibe? It's almost like makes the hairs on the back of my neck. I hate it. I just hate it. I don't know. Maybe it's because I had to watch all these fucking stupid romance movies when I was a kid. All right, enough about me. So they have sex. It's great. Next morning comes around. They bring breakfast up. They have breakfast in bed. It's very romantic. Again, we get a lot of dialogue that it seems like these two have never met, but now they're falling in love after they've already exchanged vows, because they're like getting to know each other now, which is very weird. I don't know why that was a good idea. They go out for a walk to explore the grounds a little bit. The gardener has set up some traps. He catches bunnies and kills them. Him and the husband go out checking the traps, and they find a bunny in one of the traps, and the husband shoots it with a shotgun. I am 99% sure that was an actual bunny that was stuck in a trap, and they actually blasted it with a shotgun. So this may very well fall into the trappings of a cannibal holocaust. But to be fair, it wasn't nearly as cute as a sea turtle or a muskrat or one of those little monkey things that got its face cut off. So there's that. I don't know. Susan goes out and kind of explores the woods on her own, and while she's out there walking around the woods, she happens upon a strange blonde lady wearing like a flowing gown, and she's just kind of cruising around, and she's like, hey, what are you doing? But the blonde lady just walks off. So that's pretty creepy. They meet back later at the castle, and they're going to cook up these rabbits. That's very exciting. After dinner, Susan is like, hey, how about you show me around the castle here a little bit? He's like, yeah, sure. Takes her down to the family crypt. So, we're back on the aristocratic the aristocratic bloodline of, and this is where we find out that this is actually the Karnstein family that she married into. We never get like a first name for the husband. They just refer to him as Mr. Karnstein. So we go down to the crypt and we start, looking around, and there's all the big oil paintings of the different people in the Karnstein family. This is Lord Eric von Karnstein, and that's Lord Seth von Karnstein, and this is Romulus von Karnstein. And then they go down to the crypt, because apparently in this family, none of the ladies were painted, only the men got the portraits. The ladies all, however, got to be laid to rest in the family crypt, which is underneath the castle. So they go down there, and they find one of the paintings. There was a Mircalla Karnstein. Strange name, right? Mircalla. And her painting is down there, but the face has been cut out of it, which is pretty weird. She's like, what's up with that? I don't know. And she's blonde. You can tell from the painting. She's like, yeah, this was Mircalla Karnstein. And they're kind of joking around, and Susan puts her face in the painting, like one of those carnival cutout things where you can look like Superman. She's like, hey, look at me. And he's like, whoa, if you knew who Mircalla Karnstein was, you wouldn't do that. And then we get like a little backstory on Mircalla Karnstein. He basically breaks it down. She was like a Elizabeth Bathory type, draining the blood of the servants. The local villagers thought she was a vampire, so eventually they rose up and killed her. But the blood draining continued after her death, so now they think she's an undead type vampire kind of a deal. It's basically the same thing we've heard 1,000 times. So that's all well and good. Now they go to bed that night, and we start with the weird dreams. Susan is having all these nutty dreams. The first one entails Mircalla like creeping around the castle and looking in her window, and then Susan wakes up and freaks out. Oh, she was staring at me. This lady from the woods. And he's like, what lady in the woods? I saw a lady in the woods today, and she was, walking around, and then I just saw her looking in the window. It's like, no, honey, you were dreaming. This goes on for a couple of nights. Eventually, the husband calls a doctor to come check her out, and the doctor is like, well, yeah, she's a little dehydrated and she's a little nutty, so let's give her a sedative, and maybe that'll, a good night's sleep might help, so let's do that. So he injects her in the ass with something. And by that I mean with a hypodermic needle, you perverts. Don't be weird. And that kind of knocks her out, but then she just has more nutty dreams and stuff like that. So that's pretty creepy, and these dreams are getting worse and worse. At one point, she dreams that the weird blonde lady. If you haven't figured it out already, inmates, the weird blonde lady is Mercala. She is a vampire. And just outside of the castle, like a couple, 500 meters away, is a ruined abbey. And that's where Mercala sleeps during the day, and then she gets up and runs around and basically harasses Susan. A lot of scary stuff with the animals and the blood and all that. Eventually, like the apex of this is a nightmare in which Susan wakes up in the middle of the night and staggers around, and then Mercala comes in a dream and hands her a dagger, and she's like, "Hey, take this dagger. It's for your protection. You're gonna be the next one." And she's like, "What the hell?" And then when she wakes up, she's like, "Whoa, another fucking nightmare. Oh, by the way, here's this dagger that the blonde chick gave me." And the husband's like, "Where did you get that dagger?" And I told you that the blonde lady gave it to me in my dream, and now I got it right here in my hand. So the husband's like, "All right, you crazy bitch, give me that fucking knife. You probably found it somewhere, and now you're being real crazy." So he goes and hides the dagger. Next night, we have another nightmare, and then this time Mercala comes again and kind of like guides Susan into stabbing the husband to death. But it's all just a dream sequence, and then Mercala drinks the blood, and then she wakes up screaming, "Oh my God, I thought I killed you." "What?" "But no, I used that fucking dagger that I had the other day." And he's like, "No, you didn't. I'm still alive, see?" And she's like, "Well, I know where you hid that dagger. It's in the desk downstairs." He's like, "No, I didn't hide it there." And she's like, "Let's go look." So they go down there and look, and they find the dagger in there. But he's like, "Wait a minute, I never put the dagger in the desk. How did you know it was there?" And she's like, "I don't know either, but I know that that's where it was." And this is where we find out that Carol, the 14-year-old girl, the daughter of the gardener, is kind of working with Mercala, and she's like, she's kind of like a daytime servant of Mercala. Although the daytime-nighttime thing kind of gets blown out of the water here in a second. So the husband is growing increasingly worried as Susan's nightmares get worse, and she keeps going on about this mysterious blonde lady. He has never seen Mercala. He's only seen pictures of her. I mean, like up close and personal. Eventually, Susan and Mercala meet in the woods, but Mercala introduces herself as Carmilla. Now, if you haven't already done the math, inmates, if you take all the letters in Mercala and you scramble them up, they'll end up spelling Carmilla. So she just like flipped the M and the C or something like that. Shit! It's Carmilla Karnstein. She's a fucking vampire, man. You can't be hanging around with her. Well, she's pretty sexy, though. So there's that. So she's like, "Oh, yeah, okay. So you're Carmilla? Yeah. Where do you stay?" She's like, "Oh, I'm kind of squatting in the ruins over there." "Oh, well, all right. Have fun with that." And then they kind of part ways. Now, the husband is real distraught about how nutty his wife is acting, so he goes for a walk on the beach. And this might be the dumbest fucking thing I've seen in a while. And this should be a testament to how horny the Spanish people were in the early 70s. I think Spanish. I could be wrong. Might be Italian or something. But he's walking along the beach, and the first thing he finds is a severed hand. Hand dead, chopped off, laying in the sand. He's like, "Fuck me, that's a human hand." He keeps walking, and then he happens upon a snorkel sticking out of the sand. Just like the tip, like there's somebody buried under the sand. So he's like, look at that. What is this? So he starts digging right there, and the next thing he uncovers is a scuba mask with 2 eyes in it. Like there's a person laying underneath the sand using the snorkel to breathe. So the eyes open, and they're clearly female. So he's like, what are you doing under the sand there? And she can't talk because she's got the snorkel in her mouth. So he's like, "I'm going to dig you up." So he starts moving the sand around, and the next thing he uncovers, naturally, is 2 bare female breasts sticking right up out of the sand. Oh, that is dumb. I'm sorry. 2 tits sticking right out of the sand. What are you going to do? If I had a nickel for every time I happened upon a set of tits sticking out of the sand up at Tahoe, man, I tell you what. So Because he's a gentleman and because his name isn't Darian, he doesn't lay there and play with them and suck on them, which is exactly what I would do. I think that is that considered sexual assault? I think so. Instead, he like digs her out of the sand, puts a robe around her, and gets her out of there. Gets her back to his car. It's of course Mercala / Carmilla, and he's like, "Hey, what's the deal with you hiding under the sand there?" And she's like, "I don't know. I was swimming and then I woke up and everything was dark." And he's like, "All right, well, I'm gonna take you back to my place and then we'll see about getting you to a hospital. We got to get some water and food in you." So he takes her back to the castle where she meets Susan. Of course, these two already know each other. It's Carmilla and Susan. They're like high-fiving each other. But Mercala is just like, "I don't know where I am. He's like, "Can I call a doctor for you?" Something. She's like, "No, don't do that." "Can I call your family for you?" "No, I don't have any family." "Do you know your name?" "My name is Carmilla." What? Do you know where you live? Do you know anything? "I don't remember." And then, of course, Carmilla and Susan end up having a lesbian situation that night. But the husband kind of gets to watch, so that's kind of hot too, I guess. This goes on, and then now the dream sequences are they involve bloodletting and Carmilla drinking Susan's blood and Susan drinking Carmilla's blood. And basically what we find out is that Carmilla is wanting to transfer herself into Susan's body and become the next... She'll still be Carmilla Karnstein, just in with a new hairdo, a new body, I guess, new set of tits. I don't know, man. I don't know why you would. I thought Carmilla was hotter than Susan, to be honest with you. But anyway, that's the plan, and in order to do that, she has to they got to drink each other's blood a certain amount of times, and then she has to kill off her husband. She has to, quote unquote, destroy his masculinity. I'm not sure where we're going with that. I think that means she's got to either cut his dick off or something like that. So Carmilla's kind of coming and going as she pleases through the castle, and the husband wakes up a couple of times to find Susan gone in the middle of the night, and then he looks out the window and sees Susan and Carmilla just kind of walking off into the woods. Next morning, he stays up, and Susan comes back, and he's like, "Hey, what are you guys doing out there at night?" And she's like, "Oh, we just go out there and talk." And he's like, "Uh-huh, bullshit." Looks at her neck, and she's got like a pronounced fang bites on her neck. And he's like, "I knew it, you fucker." So he calls his doctor friend again. Doctor comes in. He's like, "Hey, man, this is going to sound crazy, but, I'm a Karnstein, and we've got a troubled family history, and I got this weird Carmilla lady showing up. It's definitely not Mercala Karnstein. Of course not. I'm not crazy. But this Carmilla lady is showing up, and she's kind of like bewitched Susan, and they're going out in the woods at night, and then they come back, and Susan's got bite marks on her neck. I'm not saying she's a vampire." And the doctor's like, "Okay, you fucking crazy guy. Clearly, Susan is just dealing with stress of being isolated out here with you, and she found a friend, so now she wants to spend time with her friend." And the husband is like, "Well, yeah, but she just sleeps all day, and they spends all night out in the woods. I hear like barking and howling and shit, and what the fuck, man?" So he kind of half-ass convinces the doctor that there may be something going on with Susan, and about this time is when Carmilla decides to fuck off. She doesn't really fuck off. She just goes back. She just leaves the castle and goes back to her ruined abbey. She's still walking around the woods at night in her flowing gown and shit, though, so there's that. The doctor's like, "Okay, I'm going to, because I'm your friend and because you're paying me a lot, I'm going to try to figure this out for you." So the doctor hides in the woods at night and watches Susan when she comes out. Susan comes out by herself, meets Carmilla, like out in the middle of the woods, and then they walk back to the abbey together. The doctor follows them, real stealth-like, and he basically gets wind of the big plan here, and this is where Carmilla breaks the whole thing down. She's going to transfer her essence into Susan's body. Susan's going to become a vampire. It's going to be awesome. She has to denounce her relationship with her husband and all men, I believe. And after that, she can be a full vampire, and she'll have all the powers, but, she can't. She's going to have to drink blood, and she'll get fangs and all that shit. So that's great. The doctor's like, well, okay, this is you fucking nutsacks. So he goes back and tells the husband what he sees. And he's like, well, probably not like full. They're not vampires, okay? Vampires don't exist. But it's like a shared psychosis type of a situation is what I think. So what we should do is grab Susan, get her the fuck out of here, get her away from Carmilla, and go take her on a vacation or something, That's what we should do. The husband's like, no, fuck that. I'm going to kill Carmilla. That's the best. I think that would work better because, this is my castle and my land, and I don't want her squatting on there. So, I'm just going to go and I'll do that. So they're like, okay. The doctor's like, I don't want any part of this. The husband's like, I'm going to go get her right now, you motherfucker. So he gets he's starting to get ready. He's like loading his guns and is getting his knives together and shit. That's when Carmilla and Susan pop up back right there at the fucking castle. And they've got that dagger. And Susan is trying to kill the husband. She's like slashing at him with the dagger. And Carmilla's like, get him, you got to kill him. I can't give you my power until you get him. So big fight. Make a long story short, they manage to fight off Carmilla and Susan. They kick him down the stairs. And then Susan runs out, but Carmilla stays behind. Carmilla kills the doctor because he made the mistake of hanging around. So that's gross. Kills him. He's out of the equation. Drinks his blood, too, of course, like cuts his neck open. The husband is like, oh, shit. So, because now he's got a dead doctor on his hands. Oh, fuck. So he's thinking he's going to do the smart thing, and because he's living in a place where there's vampires, he's going to wait till the next day. Go there during the daytime. So he does that. He waits till the next day. Loads up his rifle, calls up his gardener, and he's like, hey, man, we got to get rid of these fucking vampires. And goes down to the abbey where the crypt is, where Carmilla is staying, finds her coffin, pops it open. Carmilla and Susan are both in the coffin naked, which was pretty hot. Closes the coffin and then just riddles the coffin with just opens fire on the coffin. Unloads like 3 magazines out of his hunting rifle onto the coffin. That would presumably, I guess for the purposes of these vampires, just riddling them with bullets is enough to kill them, because there's like blood flowing out of the coffin. Unfortunately, what he didn't consider and what he didn't know was that Carol was like the servant of Carmilla. So Carol comes walking in and she's like, ah, shit. You killed Carmilla and Susan. And, they were going to be together. They were going to make me a vampire once I got a little bit older. So, fuck. And you killed them both. So then he's like looking Carol up and down, and he sees Carol's got the bite marks too. So then he just shoots Carol in the head. And that's pretty much the end of your movie right there. Blood Spattered Bride, man. It's not a bad show. I rather enjoyed it. Heavy on the, eroticism, softcore lesbian action. Heavy on the 70s bush. It was made in 1972. You're gonna get some fucking pubes in there. As far as vampire movies go, there are better adaptations of the Karnstein books. I mean, if you need one with some lesbian eroticism in it, I think this is probably the way to go. The original books were about 2 young girls that kind of came of age together, without making out, I don't think. And one of them just happened to be a vampire. So there's that. And then the family moves away, and they come back, and the girl hasn't aged a day. And she's still a fucking vampire. So there's that. But now they can still be best friends. It's not a bad show. I watched it streaming on Tubi. Like I said, English dubbed. Pretty bad English dubbing, actually. Had a very Paul Nashy vibe to it, but without Paul Nashy, thank Christ. I like it. I got a kill count of 5. It's not bad. It's a 70s vampire, erotic vampire horror. I can't think of a better way to describe it. Check it out if you feel like it, inmates. I'm going to take a little break. I'll come back with some other stuff.
I wanna feel the heat, I wanna own the night. I wanna feel the beat, I wanna dance tonight. I wanna lose myself, I wanna come alive. I wanna feel the love go into overdrive. I wanna feel the heat, I wanna own the night. I wanna feel the beat, I wanna dance tonight. I wanna lose myself, I wanna come alive. I wanna feel the love, I wanna go into overdrive.
Hey inmates, if you like what you hear, head over to the Padded Room Facebook group and support us through the Patreon link with a small monthly donation. Check out the T-Villain link at paddedroom.podbean.com and grab some t-shirts. Thanks for listening and enjoy the rest of the show.
And I am back, inmates. And that, my friends, concludes Vampire Month here in the Padded Room podcast, which means it's time to roll right into, you guessed it, Werewolf Month. I'm going to try to run us down all the tropes in 2024. We started with vampires, doing werewolves in February, probably ghosts or zombies or resurrected monsters. I'm going to do them all. We're doing them all. We got 12 months. What else do I need? Obviously, we're going to have to do slashers, right? We're going to have to do zombies. We're going to have to do ghosts. We're going to have to do witches. Probably have to do 1 month on possessions and then another month on demons, right? What else? Cannibals. We got to do cannibals. We can't get away without cannibals. We got to do aliens. We're going to have a busy year here in 2024, dude. So we're rolling right into werewolves next month, starting next week, actually. I don't know what I'm talking about. But before we do that, we got to get into a meat hook.
3 on a meat hook.
This week's meat hook, horror franchises. I don't know why we haven't done this before. What are your top 3 favorite horror franchises? Now, before I get into mine, let me let's talk a minute about what exactly qualifies a franchise. And I'm going to go ahead and set the rules right now for what you can call in with. I say it's got to be at least 4 movies. Anything else, anything less is considered a trilogy or less, right? So I say 4. You got to have 4 movies for it to be a franchise. I'm sure somebody's going to want to argue with me. I'm sure Jason is listening to this going, Darian, you stupid fan. No, I say 4 movies. I think that's fair. Is that not fair? That's fair. We're going 4 movies. All right, my number 3. Oh, man, this is one that I have a love-hate relationship with, to be honest with you. It's the Hellraiser franchise. Love me some Pinhead. If you ask me who my favorite horror villain of all time was, I would probably say Pinhead. He's tattooed on my back, man. But I got to be honest with you, some of those movies are shit. Actually, quite a few of those movies are shit. The recent remake, it had some high points, but I had a hard time getting past the pink Cenobites. That was a bit of an issue for me. I don't mind having a female Pinhead, man. I'm okay with that. I don't mind that at all. But you got to look like Pinhead. You know what I mean? They didn't look like Cenobites. They look like, they were pink. Dude, I get it. I get what you're going for. You want to show like the muscle and the sinew and all that stuff. But why not bring back the black leather? What's wrong with that? I never had a problem with that. That was kind of part of the scary part, was that these things are going to kill you, but they look like they want to fuck you first, and not in a way that you are in any way going to enjoy. I don't know. That's what I always liked the most about Pinhead, really all of those movies, was the concept of a villain that didn't chase you, didn't hunt you down, didn't, bear any grudge against you per se. You have to find Pinhead. You go to him. That's the worst part of it. And then you clearly have no idea what you're doing when you open the fucking box. But once it's open, it's too late. You're already done. My number 3 is the Hellraiser franchise. My number 2 is Friday the 13th. Now, again, highs and lows. You'll find that in any franchise. But I think within the realm of the Friday the 13th movies, as repetitive as they can be, you'll find a lot more high points than you will low points. I think probably Jason Takes Manhattan is probably about as bad as it's going to get. I don't know if you want to consider Jason Goes to Hell and Jason X as part of the quote-unquote Friday the 13th franchise. It is a continuation of the storyline, but very skewed and with some pretty serious creative liberties taken. But at the same time, it's got Jason Voorhees in it, and that's kind of like the cornerstone of all things Crystal Lake and Friday the 13th, so why not? If I had to pick, well, my favorite Friday the 13th is always going to be Part 6. Rise of Undead Jason is, I think about as good as it gets right there. I'm not mad at, funny thing, since I'm going off on this tangent already, I remembered liking Jason Takes Manhattan and not liking Part 7, The New Blood. Watching him recently with my son, I found it to be the exact opposite. Part 7 was actually pretty good. Part 8 was a big, fat, stinky turd. And Deacon agreed with me. Daddy, this doesn't make any sense. I know. Why does toxic waste turn Jason back into a baby? And why is it flowing through the sewers of New York? I don't know. None of it made sense. Still pretty good all the way around. That's my number 2, Friday the 13th. My number 1, I'm going to get a lot of shit for, and I don't care. I will fight you. I got to go with the Saw franchise, bros. And there's a lot of repetitiveness there also, but there's also a lot of things that we had never seen before in a horror franchise. Parallel storylines, congruent storylines, all kinds of going back and forth within the timeline, bringing back old characters, killing off new characters. You know, when we found out that Saw 3 and Saw 4 were happening simultaneously, I wasn't a huge fan of Saw 4, but that ending blew my fucking face off, and I think anybody who tells you otherwise is lying to you. Dude, we've never seen anything like that. I get it. It's torture porn. It's, I didn't think of it as torture porn, but I see why a lot of people said that. It just, you know, the whole thing, like even the first Saw movie, at the very end, when Tobin Bell gets up, and you're like, oh shit, that motherfucker was alive the whole time? And he's the one that said, oh, fuck me. Dude, we didn't see anything like that before in horror movies. Same thing with the twist ending in part 2. And then we have, of course, the 3 and 4 congruent storylines. And it just goes on, dude. And if I had to pick a favorite out of that franchise, I would probably go part 2, just because of that hypodermic pit, man. It isn't too often that I see something in a horror movie that makes my actual skin involuntarily react like that. That gave me the fucking heebie-jeebies. And thinking about it now, I'm getting them again. That's my favorite. That's my all-time favorite right there is the Saw movies. I got a Saw tattoo also. I got Little Billy. That's your meat hook for the weekend, mates. Let me know what your top 3 franchises are. Mental Health Hotline is area code 775-387-0275. Or go to paddedroompodcast.com, hit the email link, and drop me an email. Tell me to shut up about Saw. Chime in on immersion therapy. Try to guess who I am at the end of the show. That's always a good time. So let me know. In the meantime, I think it's Terradome time.
No tears, please. It's a waste of good suffering.
I'm not gonna hurt you. You didn't let me finish my sentence. I said, I'm not gonna hurt you. I'm just gonna bash your brains in. I'm gonna bash them right the fuck in. I'll kill you all. I'll drive you crazy and I'll kill you all. I'll leave it where you ever had. My worst dream come true.
6-year-old child with this blank, pale, emotionless face, the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes.
Welcome to the Terradome.
First, last week's winner. For the Asylum Conference Championship, we had Rawhead Rex versus Sammy Kerr. The monster writhed in agony as the electrical current raced through its body. Sammy was hurting it badly and was on the brink of killing it when the electrical grid to the entire village cut out. One of the monster's hypnotized minions had smashed the transformer, leaving Sammy powerless. The monster pounced, and it was all over. With a vote of 6-4, Rawhead Rex advances to the Terradome Championship, dude. That guy is a fucking beast, bro. There's no getting around it. And he can do some weird shit. He's peeing on priests, which is a little much, if you ask me. He's hypnotizing entire villages to do his insano bidding. And he's just doing all kinds of property damage, running off with babies. Dude, I don't know why we have not had another Rawhead Rex movie. You know, what do we got? 6 Candyman movies? Not that they're bad. Well, speaking of bananas franchises, but why have we not taken Hollywood? Why have we not taken another look at Rawhead Rex? I'm just asking. All right, let's get into this week's matchup for the Inferno Conference Championship. Excuse me. As usual, inmates, bear with me. I usually can't read my own handwriting. Tonight is the night. Hellfest had finally arrived in the American Southwest. Valak and his brood had been anticipating the occasion. A rare event that would allow them to intermix with mortals freely, choose their prey from whoever, and feed openly, all under the illusion of a Halloween-themed thrill park. They aren't the only ones waiting for tonight. Another hunter will be entering the proving ground. This one not looking for acceptance or sustenance, just a raw need to spill blood and seeing the perfect opportunity to do it. The crowds are beginning to gather at the gates of Hellfest. Valak and his brood stir in their crypts, and the other sharpens his blades. For the Inferno Conference Championship, we have Valak versus the other. I gotta go with Valak on this one, man. The other is he's a tough customer and a good dad, apparently, but Valak's a fucking vampire, bro. How do you, he can fly? We saw that in Vampires. Stabbing him with a plain old knife, I don't think is going to do much. You need James Woods to kill him, is really what you need. So I'm going to take Valak on that. Get me your votes by next week. Again, the mental health hotline is area code 775-387-0275, or just go to paddedroompodcast.com and hit the Terradome link. You can vote right there. You don't even have to talk to me if you don't want to. You don't want to talk to me? That's fine. Just hit the link, click whichever guy you like, and then your vote will be sent to me either way. In the meantime, inmates, I think it's time for some What Are You Looking At?
What are you looking at?
I got a few movies in this week. I got Suitable Flesh, as I mentioned I was going to bring this up. It's from 2023, presently streaming on Shudder, if anybody cares. Now, a couple of thoughts. Number one, not a bad show. Heavy on the Lovecraft. Has a very early to mid-90s vibe to it, just like in the color palette and some of the, backdrops and the wardrobe. I don't know if it's supposed to take place in the mid-90s, but it definitely felt like it. Stars Heather Graham and, what's her name, Barbara Crampton. Heather Graham gets naked in this, and she still looks pretty good. And she has many sex scenes in it. It's not bad. I'm gonna say it's not a bad show. It's if you're familiar at all with Lovecraft or his mythos, you'll recognize a lot of names and places. It felt like it was probably an adaptation of The Thing at the Doorstep more than anything. Just featuring Heather Graham getting naked and fucking guys half her age, which is the boobs come out, and it's not. She's got to be 50s probably. She still looks good. Barbara Crampton's in this one also. She looks good too. She keeps her clothes on. Unfortunately, I'd rather see Barbara Crampton naked than Heather Graham. That's just me. All in all, not a bad show. I'm not going to get it on VHS. I don't understand the need to do so. I know Jason would fight me if he was here. I might grab a Blu-ray when it becomes available. It's probably already out there for all I know. Anyway, you can stream it right now on Shudder if you're interested. I say if you're a Lovecraft guy like me, or if you're just in the mood for some Lovecraft without the tentacles or the Cthulhu or the big silly monster, this would be a good way to go. It's more like the Necronomicon shows up, so you got that. I'd say check it out. I watched that, and I also watched a movie called The Hanged Girl from 2023 also. I think I found this one on Tubi. Not very good. Not very good at all. You have a group of friends that get together at a historic infirmary or something like that, where a girl was hanged, like in the Dark Ages, for possibly being some kind of a heretic during the Inquisition. That's great. That's very creepy. Unfortunately, the story that we went with, that's the story that we started with. Okay, so we could have done like all this haunted house crap, which would have been awesome. Instead, the story that we went with was one of the friends being Muslim and the rest of the friends kind of ostracizing her for it, and her trying to be like this goody little two-shoes, and everybody else is a racist and a not accepting of her lifestyle and shit like that. It became very social political, is what I'm getting at. And it wasn't a very good show. I mean, it's great if you want to feel guilty for not being Muslim, then that's a good show for you to watch. There's like zero callback to the hanged girl. You know what I'm saying? Like, I read the description of this thing, and I thought to myself, okay, haunted, historic Airbnb, I'm into that. Let's get some paranormal activity, maybe a possession or some shit. No, it's all just they don't like me because I'm Muslim, and that's the end of it. And in actuality, most of the people there did like her. She just kind of acted like nobody liked her because she blamed everything on herself being Muslim. I'm not going to waste any more time on this. It was a shit movie. I'm going to tell you to skip The Hanged Girl. And that's all I am looking at this weekend, mates. How about some immersion therapy?
Immersion therapy.
Did you get a chance to check out The Last Exit? Not a bad show. They did telegraph the ending a little bit. That's the only complaint I have about it, really. You got the two robbers showing up in the middle of the night. The car breaks down. They got to take refuge in the house. And then as soon as she wheeled out her vegetable husband and she starts giving him the medication, okay, I see what's going on here. The robbers, as scary as they are actually they ran into a house of sickos. Is what's going on, and that's exactly what happened. I was not wrong in that assessment. It's not a bad show. There was some good stuff going on, some suspenseful scenes, and there are times when you're wondering who the real asshole is. It's the one who's keeping the guy in a vegetative state with narcotics. That's who the asshole is. The robbers are also assholes, but they're not, human trafficking veggies. I'm going to hell for that one. But yeah, that's about. It's fine. It's worth checking out. That one was streaming on Tubi. If you missed it, check it out. Your immersion therapy for this week is going to be No One Will Save You from 2020. It stars Caitlin Dever and Zach Duhamel, directed by Brian Duffield. Find this one streaming on Hulu. I believe it has something to do with aliens, but I could be wrong. Haven't seen it yet. Check that shit out, inmates. I will do the same, and we can compare notes next week. In the meantime, it is time for you to educate me.
Educating Miss Monica.
First, my clues from last week. Well, I am setting up a medical practice in a small town, and everything was going pretty smoothly. I thought I was going to have a pretty boring job until a dead body came back from the Amazon, I think, and it had something in it. And now that thing is out, and it's spreading and reproducing, and it's really fucking up this small town. Good thing we have a professional on staff here to deal with this exact type of thing, and it's John Goodman, and he's here to kick some ass and take some names. I am, of course, arachnophobia. That is a good movie. That's another one that will make your skin crawl. That's a good one to take a date to if you want her to just climb all over you and freak out because chicks hate spiders, obviously. It's a good show. It's more of a horror comedy, I would say, than anything. Who might I be this week, you ask? Well, I am a bit of a scumbag, and I work... I guess I'm like a talent scout for a shitty cable TV network, and basically what I'm looking for shows out of an international market. Basically, I'm looking for smut, is what I'm looking for porno to put on my cable channel. And in the course of that, I got asked to do a talk show where I met a lady who introduced me to a guy, and then we had sex, and she likes it when I stick her with pins and cut her with razors. Very weird. And turns out the guy she introduced me to is just a fucking video guy of he's not a real person. He's just a video. You know what I'm saying? Of a guy. I can't even explain it. God damn if I didn't grow a vagina in the middle of my stomach during the course of all this shit. Who might I be, you ask? Tune in next week and I'll drop some knowledge on you, inmates. In the meantime, I think that's about it for me. Thank you very much for joining me, as usual, inmates. Your patronage is always very much appreciated. Like, comment, subscribe wherever you found this show. It helps my visibility quite a bit. Do have a Patreon campaign running. If anybody gives a shit, just go to paddedroompodcast.com. You'll find all the information you need about me. Any of my lackluster co-hosts that I've had over the years, how to get a hold of me, how to subscribe to the Patreon page, how to vote on the Terror Dome, it's all there. And it'll be updated whenever Jason gets around to it. So there's that. I expect it could possibly be by next week's show. Maybe not. I don't know. In the meantime, join me next week for I Am Lisa, kicking off Werewolf Month here in the Padded Room. Hopefully we can find some good werewolf movies, because I can only think of 2 off the top of my head right now. And we're going to dig deep in the dirt of the werewolf mythos and hopefully find you some good ones. Other than that, I think that's it for Jason in Absentia, Buddy in Absentia, werewolves, vampires, horny vampires, 1970s pubic hair. I'm glad that went away, to be honest with you. That is like a stink trap down there. And the Padded Room podcast. I'm afraid visiting hours are over.